Chapter 9. No sleep. Imprisoned by my own head, the spacious, yet invisible, cobweb I was glued to, wholly attached, captured by a vicious predator, unable to wiggle out and escape, wrapped up in countless layers of the cocoon, awaiting my sentence, awaiting to be fully consumed. Ever since my right arm went, the falling asleep part has gone way trickier. The sleeping pills weren't doing it for me all the same. They were like vitamins for kids, as far as I was concerned. And the more I brewed in the spot of losing sense of myself, the more I started questioning everything around me, the things I was so used to, the people who were so dear to me. Why would she completely abandon me at a time like that? But when I started to really dig into my memory, actually shovel the dirt of my past, diving further in, I don't think I could recall a single thing to do with Ronnie past last year. No recollection of our memories together as children, teenagers, nothing. Was that a memory loss, an early onset dementia that came a few decades way too soon to claim my brain, throw a moving blanket on it, pack it up, and leave my head hollow? I haven't experienced any physical head trauma to prompt such an ailment, to cause a memory lapse so severe, to wipe all memories of my sibling, to cause amnesia. Did the non-stop night dreams scramble up my brain, turn my semi-hard pink into a soggy, runny, yellowy eggs, affecting my long-term memory and leaving me to worry about the dealings of yesterday? I couldn't accept the idea that Ronnie, my twin sister, annoying but lovable, tyrannical but real, was nothing but a figment of my imagination. No way. I couldn't continue living in this kind of reality. The sleep has escaped me too. At least that's how I perceived it. Tried to just sleep off my anxiety, but was unable to. At first, I was apprehensive about those vivid dreams, not knowing what to make of them, as they always left me tired, and the whole experience was just too intense, too much for me. And now, I was searching for salvation in those dreams, an escape from this horror, a way to completely disconnect, if only for some time at least. But somehow, it was impossible for me to fall asleep now. Those dreams, they were no longer there. I would stay awake, scratching at my unresponsive right arm, head spinning and wildly pulsating, hearing the creepy thumping rhythm, sensing the unwelcome presence, descending further into a downward spiral vortex of shattered reality. Now I was craving those dreams, like a REM junkie, fiending for some sleep, having that itch that needed to be scratched. How ironic. Trying to get distracted from the misery of my existence, I was watching the series about frogging, when an intruder secretly lives inside someone else's home, and the actual lawful inhabitants are completely oblivious to the presence of this ingenious, rent-free squatter, kind of like the film Parasite, if you think about it. But the show focused on real-life stories that did involve some unfortunate events. One episode stood out to me about a couple that had a frogger live in their attic for months without them knowing, until one day, after being away for a week on vacation with their kids, they returned to their house to find someone holding on to their front door from the inside, trying not to let them in. When this person was taken into custody, the house was thoroughly searched. A lot of evidence confirming this intruder's lengthy stay at their home resurfaced, including the personal possessions he'd accumulated during his tenure, and a bunch of recorded videos on the old laptop's webcam. The disturbing diary entries of the squatter, in which he talked about private details of the couple's life they hadn't shared with anyone, and the worst of them all, detailing how he wanted to play quote-unquote doctor on that couple, describing different surgeries he wanted to perform, such as hand transplant or sexual reconstruction, in an attempt to turn them into perfect people. After all of this footage was uncovered, it was unclear, hard to determine how long he actually had stayed at their lovely two-story house. This story hit close to home, as I've myself been struggling with the notion of having an ominous presence looming over me, hiding in my attic, menacingly breathing in anticipation. But maybe It's better knowing the danger than being oblivious, like the people in the show. The excuse I keep telling myself, but it seems as if being aware of the incoming threat didn't help me in figuring out how to resist it and fight back at all. The longer I lived with it, the worse it got. I am helpless when my own body and mind are sabotaging me. However, I still needed to do something. Can't give up now. Can't just whistle and hope for the wind of change. I went back to the hospital where I'd had all my examinations and tests previously done. After thorough evaluation, they bandaged up my arm and assured me that I was fully healthy, that I just needed to stop with the self-mutilation and paranoia, as I was displaying an abnormal behavior of a disturbed individual, issuing me a warning that if I keep insisting about my issues, they would have to admit me to a loony bin, as my ailment looked clearly psychological to them. I was discharged from the hospital with a baggie of anti-anxiety prescribed medication that I just threw in the garbage on the way out. They'd suggested for me to stay overnight so they could monitor my health further, but I plainly refused. I didn't trust them one bit. They just wanted to increase the amount written on the bill they would mail to my address later, or I'd stay at the hospital for a night and I would never be able to leave. They would sedate me and perform experiments on me, harvest my organs. I couldn't let that happen. No way, Jose. I ran out of there as fast as my weary body permitted, away from those good-for-nothing doctors that clearly didn't care for my well-being. Still wearing a hospital gown, I find myself moving down a pedestrian walkway of the bridge Ronnie and I have to cross to enter the park. The bridge separating the concrete jungle and the makeshift natural jungle we hike. What the fuck is Ronnie? I'm at my wit's end and she's disappeared on me. No help, no salvation. My right arm, covered in bandages, disguising its ugliness, as catatonic as ever, is flailing under the intermittent gusts of wind. The cars driving past me kick up. The chase, the crawling noise in my ears, my lack of vision as the sun is setting, perception of reality. My body is abandoning me. My mind is wavering. Can't keep it together. I can't go on like this. I have nothing. Pain and anguish, uncertainty and paranoia, the never-ceasing noise. I'm deciding to end this. I haphazardly climb up the railing guards, 200 plus feet above the water level, underneath a vigorous river separating the park from the city, flows without hesitation or doubt. I close my eyes, clear my mind, let go, and step forward.
Dream Parade.